Welcome, everybody, to the bigger picture with me, Nicholas, and with my good friend Sid. Welcome, Sid.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We got tons to talk about as usual, and yeah, I think I'm gonna just highlight a couple of things before we really get into the nitty gritty. And one of the things that I found truly super cool, which also sort of will tie in later on, is this news from Meta. I'm not sure if you caught it, but Meta just achieved mind reading using AI.
Huh.
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, it's of course totally awesome, totally science fiction, sort of Minority Report. This sort
Yeah.
of coverage by Cold Fusion, which is a brilliant channel, by the way, is also sort of referencing Minority Report and sort of the capabilities that we're coming close to. But basically, what it can already do is to sort of guess pictures that you're thinking of, and even words and sentences and stuff. And I pointed out that the Chinese already had this like 2 years ago, but it seems America is catching up. Anyway, I wanted to point this out to people. I'll also link it down below. That's really awesome news. And another thing that we actually forgot to mention last time that we were on, because
You
we
know, first of all, I don't think it's an awesome news. It could be an awful news too.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, sorry, yeah,
No, it
yeah,
is. It could go anyway, but I don't think it's a good idea that Meta can read our mind.
no, 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 no,
Also,
no, yeah.
with this, sometimes you think about something and you open Facebook and you see the ad. I think they had this technology from far away that you think of something and then you see the ad on Facebook.
Yeah, and of course, right, they always highlight sort of the commercial uses of this, sort of the danger that that you get ads popping up into your head, for example. I'm just saying something crazy, but of course, it also has military application and state
Yeah.
control applications, which are way more dangerous than commercial
Yeah.
applications.
Yeah.
Uh,
Speaking of military applications, I just sent you a link that Pentagon is currently moving forward towards allowing AI weapons to autonomously make decision to kill humans.
yes, I saw it. Wait, I'll pull it up.
I just
And
sent you the link. Yeah.
And also, I also want to point out, so this news from Meta has to do with a non-intrusive BMI, so brain-machine interfaces. And China, like I already mentioned, they already had these sort of non-intrusive BMIs like 2 years ago, and they used it to in a militarized way, so that people could steer military equipment with their minds. So that was basically what China was doing with it
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah. This could be the star of like Armageddon war with humans and robots. This looks like it's
Yeah,
going in that direction.
I hope not, but I think this episode is of course the danger of secrecy, which is actually part two. We did part one last time,
Yeah.
but there's often so much to cover that it's sort of hard to cover it all.
Yeah.
But this is the sort of the stuff that we're worried about, and that's also why we try to highlight it so that people become aware of it. Now, if you can read somebody's minds, and in the Meta Cold Fusion video, they do sort of explain that it's still being developed, right? It's not super accurate yet. The images come close, but they're not exactly what you're thinking about, and the words are close, but they're not exactly what you're thinking about. So, but as the accuracy increases over time, and of course it's an exponential speed,
Yeah.
yeah, then it becomes really dangerous. Like if you have like your seed phrase in your mind of your wallet, just
Yeah.
to go back to crypto.
Or even if not even in your mind, but if they can read your mind and you are just looking at your seed phrase while you're adding that in the wallet, they can read. This is very bad technology. We should not develop it. We should ban this technology.
Yeah, but one of the things is, of course, they're in an arms race, right? This is sort of the game theory that also works with Bitcoin, if one person is mining it, or if one country starts adopting it or starts mining it, then those other countries are actually sort of forced to follow them before they sort of get
No, but you can
behind.
make a general rule. Like we, as a human, did that previously, that we decided we are not going to make biological weapons. So no country on earth made that. And then,
Well,
like,
that's the question,
same
right?
thing we can do in this, right? That we are not going to do that. Yeah, well, that's a question. But again, apparently no one is doing that. Secondly, like space wars, we have a clear stand. Like even the countries are at war will not fight in the space, and they follow that rule. Like even Russia and USA, China and USA, they are all in a space, but they never fight. That's the law they follow. So if they want to make a law and put all the countries in there and sign a deal, then you can achieve that. I think all countries should band together and make a rule that no, this technology is not good. Mind reading is not good at all.
True. I mean, I agree, and I think they shouldn't develop it. I mean, it's incredible that it's even possible, right? Because it's, what it sort of tells us about ourselves, and that you can pull such a feat. But it is, of course, super scary and highly dangerous, and
Yeah.
it can be used against everybody.
Well, after this technology, I think people should stop making fun of psychics, because if this is true, then psychics were not wrong, right? They had this power, and people were making fun of them that they are just charlatans, and most of them are. But there is a possibility, if we can just read minds, then there is a possibility that some people have that power inherently, that they can read minds too, or
And
they have psychic powers.
and that is for the next episode, because
Yeah.
next episode we're gonna do remote viewing, because I wanted to do that one for a very long time.
Yeah.
But there's other exciting news that we didn't mention last time, and I do want to mention it before I forget it again. That is, a giant pyramid buried in Indonesia could be the oldest one in the world. Well, actually, you and me both know that there's actually an older one, because this one is apparently at the utmost 27,000 years old, which is very old, right?
Oh, 27,000. That's
Yeah.
old, yeah.
So it's the base layer. So basically, to sort of give a sort of a background, this is the pyramid that was sort of featured in Graham Hancock's amazing series Ancient Apocalypse, and it was in the first episode. And I still remember when I watched it, and then I googled it, and there was a wiki page, and they said, like, the person who's doing this research is not very well known, and there's a lot of question marks, and we don't know what it really is, and if it is a pyramid. And well, it turns out it is a pyramid, and it has different layers, and the oldest layer, the base layer, is apparently 23 to 26 or 27,000 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Indonesian, I thought previously I thought the Chinese pyramid was the oldest one, but this is a good news for me. Like I'm gonna do a research on that.
But do you remember that we also did one on what was it, like 5 or 6 weeks ago, about the pyramid, the Bosnian pyramid?
Yeah, Bosnian one. Yeah, actually, yeah, Bosnian one was the oldest one.
Yeah, because that one was carbon dated, because there was a leaf in the concrete, because the pyramid was built of concrete blocks,
Yeah.
which turned out to be the hardest concrete on planet Earth that they discovered. That there was a leaf in the concrete, and they sent it to different laboratories all over the world, renowned laboratories, and what came back, it was 33,000 years old.
Oh damn.
Yeah. You can say that again. Well, so there's a lot of stuff that is being unearthed, and there's this interview. I'm not gonna, show it, but it's an interview between Jesse Michels, who's doing amazing work with Graham Hancock, and Graham Hancock sort of revealed in that interview that they also discovered the giant pyramid in the Amazon. That's gonna be sort of revealed pretty soon by LiDAR, right? LiDAR is sort of creating huge leaps in archaeology because you can sort of scan the ground or cells even beneath the ground using these sort of lasers to look down below. So you can actually scan sort of the Amazon forest and these large patches on Earth that haven't been sort of scanned or digged in. Right, the Sahara Desert is like one giant place that has been mostly not even touched yet.
Damn, yeah. And
Yeah,
there are like other things which scientists say it is like a natural formation. I'm just gonna send you a link, a picture, and you decide. I just want your opinion on that as well.
cool.
While we are on the subject, so they found this thing in a province of Pakistan called, and they call it Sphinx of Balochistan.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and scientists did a research on that, and they called it a natural formation.
Yeah, I highly doubt that's a natural formation.
Because natural formation is like, if you check the whole photos, there's like a temple, a sphinx, and like it's like a destroyed pyramid. It looks like 100,000-year-old ruin to me. It just got ruined.
Yeah, do they say that the whole thing, so not only the Sphinx at the top, but
If you
also
go down in the link,
yeah.
little bit more. There is one more picture down there. Yeah, this one. Open this picture. So they have like this uh, Vimana that looks like a destroyed pyramid. So there's a small pyramid, there's a sphinx, there's a temple ruins down there.
Wow, and this is real? Wow.
This is real. You can people. This is like, so they didn't even know that. So the China corridor
Yeah, I do.
was Silk Road.
Yeah.
So they were making. So this area is undiscovered. This whole province, nobody lives there. It's like it's like the largest province in the country, but nobody goes there.
Wow. But are they sort of claiming that this whole thing that we're seeing right now is a natural formation?
Yeah. So
Ah.
what happened over there, that they, when they were making the road, they found that. So they, if it was actual ruin, then they have to change the whole plan for
Uh-huh.
the Silk Road, because they have to dig around and all those things.
I
So
see.
to avoid that, they call this whole thing a natural formation.
Yeah, I see. I
But
see.
what I see, like on this side, Vimana is like a ruin of pyramid. There is a sphinx, and then underneath the sphinx, there's like the pillars
Yeah, no
of,
way this is natural.
yeah,
No way.
yeah.
If this is for real, that it's completely unnatural. I mean, it's humanly, or at least it's not, it's not natural.
It's not natural. Natural doesn't make this kind of formation. So what I'm saying, like a lot of the things like this are not even the talks, because people don't even talk about it, because the governments try to hide it for their own financial purpose. Because
Mm.
the Silk Road is way more important in the eyes of the government, because they are making billions of dollars through the trade.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
this is one of that. There are like other weird things in the same province.
Well, I'm sure we're gonna sort of circle back to the archaeology section that we did before
Yeah,
because
I
we
have
got,
few more things later. I will probably show it in the next one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and to sort of do some recaps on previous episodes, right? This is also very important. Unfortunately, the understanding is that the Schumer amendment is poised to be shot down on Monday by Republican leadership. So
yeah.
this is, I think this was this week, not tomorrow, but yeah, no, it's tomorrow. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll check. But anyway, so it kind of seems that the Schumer amendment is not gonna make it. I'm gonna double check that if I'm correct, because it's sometimes hard to see with the tweets. If that's 25th. Yeah, oh no, yeah, sorry, it's tomorrow. He's talking about Monday tomorrow, so the 27th.
Yeah, it's Monday tomorrow. And this is like, they have like, it feels weird to me because it's very ideal time because everybody is distracted towards the war,
Yeah.
and they are like, yeah, let's do it now, and nobody will care.
Yeah, and he's pointing out that it's Republicans, but it is apparently it's a specific group of Republicans. So it's not sort of characterizing all Republicans, because I think there are actually quite a couple of Republicans that are fighting for UFO disclosure,
Yeah.
but some are
And some
also.
Democrats as well, they fought, but most, the thing is, except few genuine senators, no matter which party they are from, they are truthful about this topic. Everyone else is a paid shill. Most of them are being sponsored by Raytheon, Boeing, and all those companies which are directly involved in UFO research. So they want to shoot it down. So now, after the voting, we need to see who voted no, because I know that AOC and Tim Burchett, who are enemies in general, they were doing the same. Like they were very excited about the UFO hearing by David Grush, and they both were asking genuine questions. So it means it's like there are some genuine people out there who are not like, I'm not saying they are like angels, like they have other problems, but at least on this topic there are some serious people, and then there are obviously uh, Raytheon sponsored senators. So we need to keep an eye on those guys who are the, like, once we get their names, people need to dig into that, who are their actual sponsors. And if you find these companies, then yeah, there is like more conspiracies out coming, will be coming out of that if they shut it down.
Yeah, and then this sort of ties into it. I think I'll just jump right into it. This guy is doing also excellent work. I link all this stuff down below. Matthew Pines. So he sort of, this was like a few days ago, the 23rd was this. And he said, I've heard rumors, similar rumors of a pushback that against sort of the amendment by Chuck Schumer, that of and he was sort of pointing out that there was this section in the amendment that you could sort of claim the recovered technologies that he's speaking of right here, and that was where the pushback came from. And this is, by the way, a very interesting thread that I, sort of I recommend everybody to read. But sort of to come back to what you just said about Raytheon, look at this. He did some research, and I'll blow this thing up. And this is very interesting. I'll just remove this and make this a little bit bigger. And this shows you sort of the consolidation of power of these big companies. They start off really small at the what is it, the left side of your screen. You see here Boeing at the top in
Yeah.
blue, and then you see after, from 1980 to 2015, that Boeing has become, it's sort of swallowed up all its competitors. The same with Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, and General Dynamics. So these are like the giant players
Yeah.
that have consolidated all power from 1980 to 2015. I found this quite
Yes. Yeah,
shocking.
this is very shocking that they eliminated the whole competition
Yes.
like that. But yeah, I don't know much about Northrop Group, and then, but I know about like Boeing, Raytheon, and what was the third one?
General Dynamics.
No, and the other one as well.
Yeah, Boeing, Lockheed Martin.
Lockheed Martin, yeah.
Yeah.
So these four are, has been mentioned by so many UFO whistleblowers, especially Stephen Greer, that they are developing, like they are reverse engineering, and then they are using that technology to do stupid stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, and those, remember the Peru attacks? They're still
Oh, yeah.
going on. And then the story coming out that they are human technology created by one of these companies, and they are trying to scare the native people of that area.
And you just created the perfect bridge. So we're also going to do, by the way, the Peru thing maybe next week, because
Mhm.
I did watch some really interesting interviews about it. And actually, one of these, the person that we showed before actually went there. And he himself is also a very interesting person. But he actually went to that village and did a lot of research. And there's a lot to say about it. And so, but we'll save that for next time.
Yeah.
But talking about Lockheed Martin and what you just said, sort of, their, maybe their skunk works, the stuff that they're developing in secret, and what they, might be able to do. I got this video clip which I want to show, which sort of ties into that. Here we go, from Jesse Michels.
Witten actually worked in Martin Corporation's anti-gravity research unit. That's right, they had an anti-gravity research outfit. It was called Research Institute for Advanced Studies, or RIAS for short. And Martin Corporation, of course, would later become Lockheed Martin. Lewis Witten's direct boss at RIAS was a guy named George Trimble. In a 1956 article found in Jane's Defense Weekly, George Trimble said, "We're already working on nuclear fuels and equipment to cancel out gravity." And
so I'll leave it at that. But it shows you how far, because this he's talking about the 50s. This is in the 50s, right? So
Like it will take centuries to build that kind of technology, because the way our technology has evolved is in a very different direction from the previous people. Like the previous people's technology was very different, and then suddenly we took the industrial route. So technology doesn't have to be industrial, there could be other things, right, which we don't know.
true, and then
So anti-gravity may be very possible in back in the day. Remember like the old legends of magic carpets, Arabian legends?
Yep.
They come out of somewhere, and then we call it a magic or whatever. But if you look at from now, I'll see them as an anti-gravity carpet, because they are defying gravity. There is no proportion, something. It's just like a carpet going up and like flying.
Yeah, and I think what you're sort of getting at is, for the people back then, it looked like a carpet because it was thin,
Yeah,
and flat,
exactly.
probably round. A carpet can be round.
Yeah. This is
So
what I'm saying.
for
Like,
clothing.
so back in the day, and it's like I've read a lot of Arabic legends, so I'm very familiar that it wasn't even a thing. Like people see them as UFO. It was so common that people used to see stuff like that. And same if you go back in the Mahabharata, like Indian legends, they also have vimanas, the flying things, which are also anti-gravity. So what I'm saying, that back in the day, maybe the route they took was very different and they created that technology. And recently, even somebody was discussing, Jamie on Joe Rogan's podcast, like his producer was discussing that Graham Hancock and one other guy was doing a podcast, and they said that humans are on this earth are there from a very long time. So there was a breakaway civilization. They didn't break away to a different planet or under the earth. They break away to a different dimension, but they are on the same planet but living in the different dimension, and they have those technologies.
Yeah, because one of the things that we also have to point out, and I think we talked about it also before, is that in the Schumer amendment, which is really remarkable, also link it again down below, is sort of the language that they use is that they speak about non-human intelligence. They're not speaking about aliens per se, right? They're
Yeah.
keeping it sort of neutral. And as many people like Jeremy Corbell, and many others have pointed out, is like that sort of leaves the door open. They can be crypto-terrestrial, like that they can actually live on Earth without sort of us being aware of it, or at least most of us. They can be alien, and the alien cannot, or extraterrestrial, but that can also mean like interplanetary or a solar system or a galaxy, or you can make it as big or small as you want. But it can also be interdimensional, to name something else, right?
Yeah.
So they just speak about non-human intelligence. So that's very interesting choice of words, right?
Yeah. And the whole nuclear thing is uh, come with this theory about the breakaway civilization, that they are in a different dimension, but they are in the same part of the space, like same planet. So if we destroy this planet, it will affect them. So that's why they are very interested in nuclear technology, and then they wanna like destroy this technology somehow.
So
That's why.
I'm
No,
gonna use that as a bridge again because I got a
yeah.
lot of clips.
No, but like there's a clip that nuclear test bomb is going, and then a UFO came in, shoots a beam on it,
Okay.
and
Okay.
deactivated it.
Then I'll do that one first.
Okay, for
That sort of ties into. Yeah. Well, I'll just go with the flow of this conversation. Here we go. Also from Jesse Michels.
7 years, I have personally located and interviewed more than 120 of these former or retired military personnel.
You have Robert Salas at Malmstrom saying that the whole base was actually rendered inoperable.
This time he was screaming into the phone saying they're looking at an object, a red glowing object.
Yeah, the sites were going down,
Sites were
one
going
by
down.
one.
Very rarely does a missile malfunction, and I don't think much more rare would be 2 at the same time, but never 10.
You have Bob Jacobs at Vandenberg in '64. He's a photo instrumentation specialist. They were launching dummy nuclear warheads off of Atlas V missiles and seeing a UFO kind of wrap around it and take it down.
And I said, it looks like we got a UFO.
You have
Yeah, so these are just some examples from the book UFOs and Nukes, where what's his name, Hemmings, went over to sort of interview like 120 different missile operators who have to do these PRP tests, like personal reliability tests, to sort of see if they're fit enough, mentally fit enough to sort of turn the keys on nuclear missiles, right? Because you don't want crazy people behind those keys. And these kind of people are sort of reporting that they're seeing UFOs all over the place.
Yeah. And then people need to understand, like, when originally Stephen Greer come out with some of the military people, nobody believed that the people there was actually military guys. But right now, any whistleblower who is coming out have a very strong ground. Like David Grush was high-ranking intelligence officer. Commander Fravor was like an actual Navy commander. So like people need to understand these people are not dumbasses, and they were never interested in UFOs as well.
And that sort of also ties in to my next thing that I'm going to show, which is that they're not just anybody. So this is like a former senior DoD intelligence official that gave a presentation, and he claims his sources have affirmed USG recovery and reverse engineering of UAP materials. Basically, this person, I think that he's talking about here, referencing, is David Grush. This is, or Chris Mellon, I'm not sure, one of the two. And this is, by the way, an interesting quote also from Mitt Romney, which is worth reading. I don't believe they're coming from foreign adversaries, these UFOs. If they were, why that would suggest that they have technology which is in a whole different sphere than anything we understand. And frankly, China and Russia just aren't there, and neither are we. And this is, of course, in 2021. But what I wanted to get to was this, is retired Colonel Carl Nell, and I think he's like a 4-star general, or colonel in this case. Wait, we got it.
General.
Here
4-star is a general, yeah.
So this is sort of his credentials. And he's backing David Grush. So he's basically saying everything David Grush is saying is more or less true. So these are the sort of the credentials of this guy that is backing David Grush. So it's not just anybody that is sort of, these are not just people that are, talking out of their behind.
Yeah.
So I'll also link this one down below for the people who, want to read up on it. But, he's got backing from Mellon, who's also, I think, a high-ranking military official, but also this colonel, and and many others. And on top of that, like there's 40 other people who have stepped forward anonymously who also gave testimonial to Congress. And I also want to, before I forget it, jump into the next one, which is some good news in all of this, and that is that The SCIF hearing, because there was one more SCIF. We had the SCIF with the DoD, and that was sort of nothing, a big nothing burger. But there was another SCIF that was planned in November, and that was with the Inspector General of the intelligence community. And the Inspector General of the intelligence community actually said that what David Grush was telling us was credible and urgent. And those were his words. And he's sort of the highest ranking official when it comes to the intelligence community, if I understand it correctly. But I might be wrong there. But he's at least he's somebody important. It turns out that there will be another SCIF. So the SCIF that was cancelled will be done on December 7th. And then there will be perhaps a SCIF with Grush, finally.
Yeah, but the thing is, they can cancel it last minute, like they have been doing it since forever.
Yeah, that's true. But it kind of seems out of this story that it was cancelled because of other issues. So it might not be malevolent in nature, the cancellation.
Yeah, but they don't want this gift to happen. So I'm just saying they will delay it with different reasons, and then eventually they will forget. Like they want people to forget about it, because like if you cancel 2 or 3 times, people will lose interest in that.
True. And I'm kind of confused also here, because I remember that there was this SCIF with the Inspector General of the DoD.
Yeah.
And they had that one, and that was sort of not very interesting.
Yeah.
Because the guy looked like they were pointing a gun at his head, and he didn't want to say anything. But they also had this SCIF with the Inspector General of the intelligence community, and that was the guy that said Grush was credible and urgent what he had to tell. And that one got cancelled, but now they're also talking about Grush. So I'm not sure if the next SCIF also has Grush there, or that they're just talking to the Inspector General of the intelligence community, or both.
And then Grush brought up like the people who were actually involved, they had first-hand knowledge, and he want to bring them in the SCIF, or at least he want to mention their names and something. He recently said that in his Joe Rogan podcast, that now the first-hand people are involved during the process, but again, he cannot say a name or anything, because the people who were involved in those like cover up, they are actually still working in the military.
Yeah.
But they are open to go to the SCIF, something along those lines. So it's a very good podcast. People should go and watch David Grush on Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan do a long 3-hour
Yeah, but that's of
podcast.
course the
Yeah.
reason why they won't watch it, right? Because
Yeah.
every time I send somebody something and it's longer than, let's say, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, sort of the max. If it's
Yeah.
like longer, then they say, "Oh my god."
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But like Joe Rogan is different, right? He's #1 podcast. So there are millions of views every time he posts something.
And yeah, it's good that he. So we'll link that one down below too. I don't have clips from it. I also want to point out one more thing before we sort of dive into the main topic, and that is, this thread from. No, it's not a thread, more like an announce from Kim.com. Kim.com is very, quite
Very
big and
famous, yeah. Very famous, yeah.
and he sort of came out backing Ashton Forbes, who did sort of the MH370 thing that we talked about last time, the disappearing Malaysian flight in 2014. And Kim.com looked at the evidence that Ashton presented and sort of backed him, and said like, oh my God, this might be the real thing. And very important technology has been hidden from us, etc., etc. But I recommend everybody to sort of read this whole thread, because a lot of people reacted, of course, because he's very big and famous and got a lot of attention, and a lot of detractors. So Mick West also is in this thread, and tons of detractors and debunkers and whatever. And they did sort of point out some very important things, right? So some people are still thinking and making kind of pretty convincing arguments that maybe the video is tampered with. So that is sort of their main attack factor. that the video is tampered with, or all videos are tampered with, basically.
Yeah, no, but the way they did it, it's not like they showed there this is where the video is tampered. What they did, they find a similar effect which were created on Premiere like way before, and then they try to match it up with this video that okay, look at this effect, they created it in 2010, it identical to the one in the disappearing video, but they didn't prove that this video has been edited. There is no, the forensic of it, they didn't show that. They just show that this effect is similar to this effect. That's it, which is not exactly identical as well. Like it's very similar, but it's not like perfect. There are like some things which are different. But again, okay, if somebody did that, it's a different thing. But you can't say like if something is similar to this, that means it's this.
And
You
the
have to
only
prove that video is tampered. They didn't do it.
True.
And Mikvas is a phenomenal jerk. So I don't trust anything he says.
I do want to point it out because one of the things that I want to make clear to everybody is like one of the reasons why we did the MH370 on this podcast is basically to make people aware of it, right? That something might have happened, but we want actually everybody to take a look at it and prove us wrong, right? Invalidated or validated, right? I don't care if it's invalidated, but I want people to sort of join in, and look at it, and then tell me what I'm missing and why I might be wrong, right? So,
to be honest, I'm not like a MH370 truther. It is not that close to me because it's just like a disappearing ship, right? It doesn't have UFOs. Well, there are UFOs, but like it's not like anything for me. But what I'm saying, like when Mikvest come and say something, he's always wrong. He always try to debunk everything. He have no integrity. He just want to debunk everything.
And I think they still have a problem because even if they are right and even if the video has been tampered with, you still have all the corroborating other evidence that has been validated. The witnesses that he has traced down. So basically, what has happened is somehow the U.S. is involved. Somehow they lied about the plane. Somehow it disappeared, and they never told the truth, and they spent millions of dollars scouring the sea or the ocean, while they already knew what happened, apparently.
Exactly. Even if this video is fake, the fact of the matter is that ship disappeared. That's it. You can't
and it is on camera on a US spy plane and satellite, so America knows where it is, and then they're telling us. So why the hell aren't they telling us if they know?
And we have experienced, like we as a human race, we have experienced so many crashes. We know how things crash. First, like you get a distress call. There was no distress call. So
and then
just
there's, of course, the stuff from China. So China did get a distress call, and they did publish that distress call. So why didn't they tell us that, right? Why didn't they share that information with us?
Yeah, well, there are so many things over there.
Yeah,
we need to, but it could go one way or another. I'm not like I don't care. It doesn't affect the UFO world because people who are into UFOs, they don't care about this plane. Very few people even know about this whole MH370. Their whole goal is towards what David Grush said or David Fravor said, and what's the other one? The pilot from Toronto, like he's I forgot his name. Sorry, he was in the congressional hearing too.
David.
Ryan Grush or something? No,
Grimes.
Ryan Grimm. Yeah, Ryan. No.
So something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Sorry, man, I forgot your name, but yeah.
well, he was also like a really good fighter pilot. So So I do also want to. I do want to say something about it because even though I don't have a stake with MH370, I do sort of think if it is real and it seems to be real, then the implications are, of course, massive. like mind-blowing, massive, right? That's why also Kim.com got involved, because if it's true, then this is like a smoking gun, like that the US secret deep state has technology that can basically teleport a Boeing to someplace, and what else kind of technology, right? Because it sort of has to do with superconductivity, quantum AI, and other highly advanced technologies that we probably have no idea of. Anti-gravity, of course, being one of them.
One more thing could happen. Like maybe US have no involvement in there, and that was just a glitch in the matrix. It is also a possibility.
True. So, but anyway, so it's good that people look at it, because if it's true, the implications are massive, and then we need to know what actually happened there, right? And people need to be held accountable. Because that's sort of the stuff that we're sort of going to talk about here. We're already talking for 40 minutes, but so if you have this amount of secrecy, what is it hiding, and why was it implemented? And for people who sort of doubt that there is secrecy, I also want to show this final clip that I got ready, which is also from Jesse Mitchell, who's really good, and you should check him out. And that's this one.
Definition of special nuclear material in the Public Atomic Energy Act of 1954, it basically states any material that releases any kind of atomic energy.
That would be retrieved crash material. So it's kind of a sneaky way.
No, it is. If you actually read the Atomic Energy Act, if something is not a nuke, but it has radiological energy coming off it, alpha, beta decay, whatever.
Same secrecy.
Same secrecy.
Until now, we haven't really had.
Yeah, so that's basically how they hide it, right? How they hid it. And basically what they are also saying in that same documentary, which is excellent, like a really good documentary, he also did a summary of that one, is that the Manhattan Project was actually the first UFO project.
Yeah.
It attracted so much UFO activity probably, but it sort of involved Oppenheimer, and also what's his name, Condon, right? So from Project Blue Book, who sort of wrote the conclusion to it, and they're all in the movie from Christopher Nolan, of course.
Yeah. No, but like Richard Feynman was in that team. Richard Feynman was like one of the greatest scientists we have seen, or like not the best like Einstein or Newton, but he is like in top 5. Richard Feynman is like very famous, or top 10 maybe, and he was in that team.
Yeah. So basically the and I'll also link it down below again, because Jesse Mitchell has done a really good job at sort of diving into this stuff and sort of pulling all the threads and making a coherent narrative or story about what might have happened back then, with the Manhattan Project, and how anti-gravity fits into that. Because he also points out that back then in the early 50s, 40s, 50s, that anti-gravity was like a very hot thing, and it got a lot of attention by really serious academics and scientists and stuff. And then it sort of disappeared, and you got string theory. And some people like Eric Weinstein, they say like basically string theory is sort of going nowhere, and it might have been just like sort of one giant distraction from anti-gravity, which is an interesting theory, right? It's nothing more than a theory, but still it's interesting.
Yeah.
So here's the Condon Committee. Yeah. So Condon was and Condon lost his clearance and later got it. And once he got it back, the first thing he did was lead Project Blue Book to sort of dismiss UFOs out of hand. But he was sort of in the know, or at least in the atomic know, right? Because he was part of Project Manhattan Project, and basically it kind of seems that everybody who's in the Manhattan Project gets a clearance from the Department of Energy, and it kind of seems that all the secrets, if there are any secrets, are hiding in the Department of Energy, which is why nobody gets them.
No, but this is very important thing that Pentagon has failed last 6 audits. And
Oh,
it's not like few millions. We are talking hundreds of millions of dollars,
I
which
got
are
that one.
untraceable. Where did they go?
I got that one. Right. I got that one. Where is it?
So the point is even though the project Blue Book or Manhattan Project or whatever the known project were cancelled, there were secret research going on these things, and this is where they were funneling their money.
True, true, true. Yeah, and that's another thing, right? So why does this secrecy matter, right? First of all, you have a group of people apparently which aren't held accountable. There's no overview of what they're doing, and they're and a lot of money is probably disappearing in the black hole,
Yeah.
funding these projects, which we are not profiting from, right?
We
Because
are not, but they are.
well, by the way, that's not completely true because I got one final clip that I also want to play,
Let's see.
and that sort of shows that we might be profiting from it, but maybe not the whole thing, and that's this one.
Sir Philip J. Corso was on the staff of President Eisenhower's National Security Council for 4 years, later becoming chief of the Pentagon's Foreign Technology Desk in Army Research and Development. So he was definitely in high government circles, as corroborated by many colleagues. But in his book, The Day After Roswell, Corso claims a covert government group was assembled under the leadership of Admiral Roscoe H. Hillenkoetter, the first director of the CIA, to collect all information on off-planet technology and retrieve all of the debris from the Roswell crash. Corso even claims that he was part of the cleanup crew at Roswell. He goes on to say in the book that the reverse engineering of the Roswell parts indirectly led to the development of fiber optics, lasers, integrated circuits, and even Kevlar.
I worked at
So we might have profited from
Yeah.
UFO crashes.
No, there's like a very famous theory that all the technology came to us after the crash of the Roswell. So yes, we did, but then according to Stephen Greer, that we could have free energy by now. We could have flying cars, we could have everything, which was deliberately stopped because of these black programs.
Yes, by the way, Pentagon fails to account for over $3 trillion for
Oh my God. That's
year in a row.
It's like twice as the whole market cap of all crypto industry, 3 trillion.
Yeah,
The whole crypto industry is what, like 1.5 trillion or something?
yeah, but they just misplaced it, right?
Yeah, they just misplaced it.
It's put to good use, so you don't
Yeah.
have to worry. So, and I also want to, because we're sort of talking about Hillenkoetter, who was the first director of the CIA after the OSS turned into the CIA. And
Yeah.
the CIA was created in 1947 after Roswell, and the Air Force was also created after Roswell.
And NASA was created after 1947.
Yes, and of course they're all debunkers of Roswell.
Yeah.
But here we go. This is like a quote from Hillenkoetter. I think it's on the screen right now. So this is like the first director of the CIA, and he said, "It's time for the truth to be brought out. Behind the scenes, high-ranking Air Force officers are soberly concerned about the UFOs, but through official secrecy and ridicule, many citizens are led to believe the unknown flying objects are nonsense. I urge immediate congressional action to reduce the dangers from secrecy about unidentified flying objects." So that's a nice quote.
Yeah.
And he did some other quotes, of course, but basically he was sort of warning back then, right? Like Eisenhower later, and probably Kennedy also later, that keeping the secret is a national security issue. And I keep saying it's a national security issue because keeping it secret, you got a rogue group of people, a deep state with tremendous power, that, without oversight and accountability, that will form a danger for the population itself.
Yeah, but they're endangering US citizens as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Because, first of all, they are thinking that this UFO phenomena is just in US. They are so stupid because every country releases video. I've seen UFO videos in Turkey. I see so many videos of UFO in India. China, they hide it very well. But then there are so many videos from Russia as well, Brazil, and then the Peru attack, and then we have Mexico hearing. So the point is, it's much better if you release it and then everybody knows that what's going on, and then nobody's ahead of everyone. We are working as one planet, because this is not something you won't achieve anything if you are in secrecy. You can achieve way more if you go open whatever you know and then collaborate with other people.
True. That's absolutely true. And this a report that I just pulled out is from AARO of all places. And this is sort of the UAP reporting trend. So basically, what they're saying in this report is that most UAPs are of a certain kind, and they're spotted mostly by airplanes at a certain altitude. Of course, the altitude on which most airplanes fly. And so the typically reported UAP characteristics are that they are round or spherical, size 1 to 4 meters, color white, silvery, translucent, metallic, altitude 10K to 30K feet. That's where the airplanes fly. That's spot them. Now, propulsion, blah, 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 blah. The rest is not very interesting, but there's one thing that is interesting, because you also see the map to the right, where they are spotted. And most people, that's something that I really want to sort of highlight. Most people say like, oh, it's nonsense because, it's only spotted in America and, 2 or 3 other places. Look at this map. And I think they're referencing this specific map. But if you look into the report and also the interview that Fitzpatrick did, or Kirkpatrick, sorry, I keep messing up his name, is that he points out that that's where our sensors are located. So we have
There's like a
so that's
very
where they are
high
stored.
frequency in Middle East. The Middle East is full red and yellow.
Because there's a lot of sensors there, of course. Right? It's
Yeah,
a
of
very
course.
militarized
Yeah.
country, or
Yeah.
country, sorry.
And then China and Russia, they are also hiding, so you can't trust their data. But like US sensors are in these areas, and that's true that
Obviously.
we can see what's
Yeah.
going on here.
And I also have this sort of very short clip from Kirkpatrick from AARO himself, where he sort of makes this point.
One way of looking at that is a we'll call it a target package. This is the thing we are out hunting for in most cases. Next slide, please. This is an example of one that I showed at the hearing recently. This is a spherical orb, metallic, in the Middle East, 2022, by an MQ-9. I will come.
So this is Kirkpatrick himself talking about spherical orbs in a meeting, or in the NASA presentation, by the way. So from his own admission, right, there is these spherical orbs, UAPs, that are sort of flying around. He's showing the evidence. It's also in the report. So and when you sort of look around for other evidence, there's tons of it, because these are like old newspapers that are talking about spherical orbs, balls of silver seen over Nazi Germany, the Reich. You got this one, also very interesting news report that I got here. So Christmas-like bulbs in Nazi skies, new secret German weapon. What else do we have?
Yeah, Hitler was very much into all this kind of stuff, UFOs and all the magic shit.
Yeah.
Like he has like whole crazy thing going on one side, World War, and then there is like a whole secret archaeological digs, and he was sending Nazis everywhere. That's why you see in Indiana Jones movies, Nazis are the main villain.
Yeah. These are just some like Christmas decorations that are flying around.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, these are very old articles, right? Where they are
Yeah.
all sort of are saying, and for crying out loud, the arrow has like and silver orb in its logo itself. So just to point it out again, we did it last time, but
Yeah.
Well, and this was also, by the way, in the report. Wait, if I can pull it up. I think I also
Because like with the name like arrow, you would expect an arrow in the symbol, not a sphere, because spheres have nothing to do with arrows.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But maybe they're saying like they're pointing at something, like an arrow.
No, they of course they are
They're
pointing
pointing
it at
to
something.
spheres.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. They're having a sphere. I know it's not the same spelling as arrow, but I'm just saying when you say it, it sounds like an arrow. So you have something like that, but you have a sphere instead, which has nothing to do with an arrow.
True. And well, last time I sort of forgot to say something, right? So basically, and I want to say that right now before I forget again. But imagine that Stephen Greer is right, or MH370, disappeared by using that kind of technology. But it's very, because the DIA, the head of OSAP from the DIA, admitted that they have a UFO in their hangar and that they've been inside, and it sort of corroborates what Bob Lazar said, that he worked on Area 51 at S4, where they had hangar of 12 different kind of UAPs, the sport model and whatever. So if Lockheed Martin or one of those other giant companies has this kind of technology, I can sort of understand that they don't want to share it. Also because they took the effort and the time and the money to sort of retrieve it and reverse engineer it. So they spent a lot of effort doing that. But what if it's true? Then you basically have potentially free energy that could solve a lot of problems in the world. You could also, you could even wonder why we're even fighting proxy wars if you have that kind of technology. But also, right, why are we even working if you have that kind of technology? Why are we working? What is the purpose of working if we have that kind of technology already, right? And that,
Slavery.
yeah, so and distraction, of course, like therapy, that people have something to do and to keep them busy. But also, right, if imagine if we are basically in that sense already obsolete, like that what we're doing is sort of it's fun for us or something, but they're already ahead, like way ahead. So then basically everything we do doesn't even matter, and we're moving into that direction where work itself is being replaced. And then people say like, oh yes, we don't have to work any longer. But let's say you don't like what the government is doing. You got a couple of things that you then can do, right? You can rebel, and now you have very sophisticated control system and surveillance systems that can nip that rebellion in the bud. Also, if you do manage to rebel and you get a group of people together and you storm the White House or whatever, I'm not saying that you have to do this, right? Don't do this. But let's say you got a group of people who wanted to do that. Then they have very sophisticated military technology, also non-lethal variants that can squash that rebellion in a few seconds. But what if you don't have work? The most normal way to rebel is to stop working, and then the government starts to listen to you. But what if you don't have work to lay down, right?
Yeah, but there is a problem in there, because the reason we need to work is because we have definitely endless amount of energy. The problem is we have to grow food. and the most of the, like, if people stop working and growing food, then we have nothing to eat. So that's why they want to continue this system until they figure out a way to produce endless food without the workers. Then they can get rid of, they can do whatever. But right now, even these evil people or the secret government, whatever you call them, they need humans to work. They need agricultural field which need humans. They need cattle farmers, they need all the things, they need chefs. They, so all the system has to continue until they figure out like a Star Trek system where they type in the code and it is genetically, or like molecule, they can create a food on molecular level.
But I think
Like in
also,
Star Trek.
yeah, but apart from that, right, you see these technologies reinforce each other, and that's why you get this sort of exponential scale. And I think, one of the things with sort of everything that's going on in the world, where they sort of, in my view, leverage the system in order to develop these technologies, is also that this creates so much distress in the system that it also forces a lot of people, sort of to become dependent and to centralize the food systems and to expand technology in those areas like the horizontal food productions and sort of enter the machines to sort of replace us. So it's almost like, the whole, and this is like my tinfoil hat, of course, this is just theory, I don't know. But it's almost like, this whole thing dovetail perfectly into everything else, right? Because you want sort of to centralize everything and to use technology to do that, and for people to sort of voluntarily give up everything in order to be saved.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's sort of my grant.
No, it is good, but what I think, universe is very big. It's not like it's not, Earth is not the only planet we got. Like there are tons of planet out there. So if they figure out a way to travel from one place to another fast, or even not fast, like if you can build two things, like energy source which can power your spaceship, and the food dispenser which can create food out of thin air, then people are ready to go out and explore different planets again, like Star Trek, right? They go into deep space, find different planets. Then resources won't be an issue because people are going wherever they want. They don't have to work, because two things are the most important thing: energy and food.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's one more thing, and that's something that we're going to talk about next time, and that's remote viewing. So I do think human beings are valuable even if we don't have work, right? Because we might have innate abilities that are very interesting for some people, including ourselves, if we
Yeah.
knew about it.
Yeah, let's talk about that in the next one. Next one is definitely for remote viewing.
Yeah, I got some really cool stuff that will blow people's minds, and I think puts most skeptics to rest. But yeah, prove us wrong, right? These are just our ideas, our speculations, our crazy fun
Yeah.
discussions. And also, again, for the people who are listening, if you want to join these discussions, if you think you have interesting ideas or theories or information or whatever, just drop a Bitcoin Live DB a DM, and then you might be on the show.
Awesome. We are looking forward to hear from people, or not. That's fine too. We're gonna continue finding different things and discuss about that.
Absolutely. And with that, we're gonna leave you, and we wish you a very good afternoon, day, night, wherever you are.
See you guys. Bye.